about 24 hours later, I let some stuff print overnight. So where is this project in its where are we on the next step of the project? Well, don't totally quote me on this, but there's an Insane Clown Posse song. It's called "How the Fuck the Magnets Work," and well, that's where I am right now with this. So, so these are printed. These are printed. The magnets are installed. That's a factory one, and we're gonna discuss we're gonna discuss kind of this screw up here, right? It's not a screw up. It's just a design, a redesign has been put into effect. Oh, I didn't clean that out. So I printed. You know what? Actually, yeah. Let's just take this out. We'll talk at the same time. So I printed. There we go. New ones. I sent it back to. We sent it back to engineering for a redesign. Well, first of all, I printed these in ABS. I wanted to see what the difference was in quality or rigidity or whatever. So these are just the same thing. These are exactly the same, except these are printed in ABS. These are printed in PLA. So after last night, so I put all this stuff together last night. This one works great. Okay, so I printed these. This works great. So this one connects to that one. This one connects to that one. That doesn't go that way. This is now. This is the factory one that I bought, and it connects to these. Okay. The other thing I did was I hooked this stuff up to my vacuum cleaner, and it's a nice tight seal. I mean, it's leaky because it doesn't have a seal on it, like an actual physical seal. I may print like a thin TPU gasket to put in here, but I don't think I'm going to. So this one works. Now remember, this is the factory one. Factory one works with this. Printed one works with this. Printed one works with this. Factory one does not. So I took a little bit closer look at the design here, and I screwed up in that I overthought the project, which is, why wouldn't I, right? So this is actually just a piece of sheet metal. I had originally thought that it had magnets in it, but it doesn't. It's just a piece of sheet metal, and these little dots here are just, apparently there's some kind of artifact from the printing, from the injection molding, most likely. So this is the printed one, fits. Or no, this is the factory one, fits. Printed one, fits. These magnets don't have as much ass to them as these, because these are 8mm magnets, these are 6mm magnets. So this one, obviously, these all work. Alright, so you can see where this is going. That's infuriating. Now there's a couple ways I could fix this, and I'm not going to do any of them. What I did do, and this is another kind of a giggle here, is I decided I was going to use 10 magnets. Well, I got a box of 100 of these, right? So I've got a few to spare for this project. So if I have to use 10 magnets, then I'll use 10 magnets. Why do I have this ring here? Well, I have this ring here because when I printed the file, when I sent the file to the slicer, I didn't realize that my file was bad, right? So the program that I'm using, the Tinkercad program, which is great, I went from having sawdust all over the place to having little bits of plastic all over the place. So this, I'm removing the this is the support material that I'm taking out of here. I automatically generated support, and quite frankly, it works pretty well. It only takes a second to pop these things out, so it's not really an issue. So I come out this morning after my overnight print, and this one doesn't have any holes in it. I'm like, why doesn't this have any holes in it? So I looked at the file. The holes are here. The holes are in here, but they're inside of here because when I printed the file, or when I put the file together, apparently I didn't merge it correctly. So the answer for me was just to print this ring again, right? So the ring is fine. And I can put the magnets inside of here, and then I can just glue it together. I can use either hot glue, which is my favorite, or I can use, I have thick CA glue. I can glue this together, and we'll see how it works. If that doesn't work, I'll just reprint this one. But I'm going to try using the CA glue first, just because why not, right? I've had really good success with CA glue and gluing this stuff together, at least so far. Otherwise, I don't really want to use hot glue because hot glue is too thick, but the CA glue should be just fine. So there, that's where we're at. Now, let's go take a look at the fit, because they don't really fit all that great either. They do, but they fit, but not slip fit. They're gonna have to be. They're gonna need some adhesive. I guess I should have mentioned this. Earlier. So the other thing that I'm gonna do, or the answer to my problem, lies within my shop. It lies within the hoard, right? So shockingly, I have pieces of sheet metal laying around. This particular sheet metal is about 18 gauge, if not 16 gauge. This stuff's really thick. I don't even remember what I bought it for. So I took the flange that I printed with all the magnet holes in it, and I made a tracing here on this piece of sheet metal, and I'm going to make the 2.5-inch hole in the center here with this janky ass hole saw. If you've ever drilled holes in sheet metal with hole saws, there's two things that you need to know right away. One is it never fucking works right, and two, you better have this thing clamped down really, really tight, because when this hole saw grabs, and it will, it's going to fling this piece of sheet metal around like a flying guillotine. Yeah, absolutely. And then after I cut this out, I'm going to nibble this and then hit it on the grinder until it's round, and then like clean it up. So let's drill a hole here to see how exciting this gets. Normally I wouldn't videotape me drilling a hole, but this could get fun. And as expected, I'm off center. Why would it be centered? My pilot drill is dull as shit too, which doesn't help. Oh, and there's always stall in the salt. Man, this hole saw is duller than hell. Oh, jackass. We can't use the wiggle it till it falls off technique. Oh, there we go. Wiggle it till it falls off. The other thing I did, I don't know if it show up on camera here. So what was I actually fighting with here? My drill stop, which I just bent the shit out of. Oopsie. I'll have to fix that. Oh well. Yeah, that thing wanted to... ooh, that's hot. Imagine that. And then I'm going to vacuum all this up. And then we'll take this apart and do the rest of it. Okay, so what I did here is I drilled 2 holes. These holes are 2.5 inches, I guess, at ID. I forget exactly what it is. But they fit, the holes fit perfectly in the flange, right? So I centered the flange up. I drilled this hole off center, of course. So next step is, I got my handy dandy air nibblers here. Notice I'm over the trash can. There's a couple tools that I own that I absolutely hate. They have a use. They absolutely have a use. They have a need, and this is one of those tools. Hopefully. She might need a drop of oil.
This thing's old, so it might not cut the sheet metal.
Yeah, I'm right on the edge of this this nibbler's ability to cut this material. I knew that going into it. As a matter of fact, this was cut with a plasma cutter the last time I cut it. But I don't feel like dragging that thing out for one project. There is a way I could actually turn the anvil around. It would probably cut a little bit better, but again, I spend more time fixing a tool than I do actually using the fucking tool. Yeah, that's about as close to a circle as that's going to get with that tool. Okay, well, I got these all cleaned up. Okay, so these are all cleaned up. My rings here are all cleaned up. And it wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, I know, they don't fit perfect. The other issue, and it's really not it's not the end of the world, but it would have to go back to, because I added a little bit more than a 30-second, maybe a 30-second. I'd have to actually measure. Yeah, a little bit more than a 30-second of an inch. What I got going on here is this one actually fits, but the ones that I built, especially this fucky one that's crooked, it sticks out a little bit. It's not the end of the world. Because I'm done with these. I don't need to make any more of these, the females. I just need to make males, or at least I don't need to make any more females right now. So that's not really that big of a deal. This one already had magnets in it, and these all worked. And even the factory one now works with this, no matter how I turn it. These magnets are so much better. I wish I'd have bought better magnets. So, what am I doing now? Now, so I don't fuck up again, because why wouldn't I? I'm being much more careful about how I put this together. Well, actually, I did this last night, or I did this when I assembled these, and I just thought it would be hilarious to show how much of a pain in the ass this actually is. So these all fit, okay? All my magnets are going north, north, south, south, so they want to stick together. And to make sure they fit, doink, I'm going to do that. Peel one off, mark it, because if you ever try to force, why are manhole covers round? Because the manhole cover can't fall in the hole, because you can't, yeah, manhole covers don't fall in the hole. And my tolerances on these holes are press fit. Yeah, they're press fit because I made the holes before I ordered the magnets. And you can see exactly what just happened there. That fucker flipped over. So, shit. Now I forget what I was doing. Damn it. Yeah, so that black side down. I don't want the magnets to stick to these. I want the magnets to stick to these. So I'm gonna stick them in there. And again, it flipped over the wrong way. Believe it or not, there's a magnetic field going on here, a pretty strong one actually. These neodymium magnets are no joke. Ever watch Mythbusters? They are dangerous, dangerous, dangerous things. If given the opportunity, they will really hurt you. There, it did it again. I should probably be using plastic pliers for this. That would probably help too. But I don't feel like making. There we go. If I was going to do this on a more industrial scale, I would build a tool to install these. And actually, to be honest, I don't even need to do this, but I am, because now these are stuck together. Now this one's a little sloppy, of course, because I can't cut a hole to save my life. So that now goes in there. I deburred this pretty well. What I'm probably going to do when this is all said and done is I'm going to put, I'm probably going to paint this. The chances of it, the chances of it rusting are 100% that this piece of metal is going to rust eventually. But if I coat this with something, I haven't figured out what yet, it won't rust as fast or what have you, and then or it'll only rust where it wears. And of course it's gonna, but now I can't get it apart. Awesome. That's kind of the idea. But this one will pull this apart. See? So the next step is, for this one in particular, I'm not going to do it again because I don't feel like dealing that, is I'm going to take some E6000, which is beyond a shadow of a doubt the best adhesive I've ever used for gluing non-compatible things together. Put two of it around here somewhere. So if you're not familiar with E6000, I highly suggest you become familiar with it. It is beyond a shadow of a doubt one of the best adhesives I've ever used for a lot of things. It just is. I don't know what it is. It smells like a silicone, but it's not silicone. It does have silicone in it. That I know. I use this stuff, not this particular one. This one dries a little faster. There's two tubes. There's two color tubes. There's the gray tube, and then there's this. Ooh, yuck. there's this red tube. I just found the red tube the other day. I don't even remember where I was when I found it, but this stuff, like I said, I don't know what it is. It's got a real stank to it. It's got it's got a silicone stank to it. It acts like silicone. Now I've used raw silicone for gluing protective glazing pieces together for stained glass. But this has got a different wang to it. I don't know if you're old enough to remember, and if you are, then AARP would like to talk to you. It smells like the old school Testors model glue. The stuff, yeah, the old school Testors model glue is what it smells like. It's got that real distinctive, not necessarily unpleasant, but not, I mean, if you like the huff glue, it's not a totally unpleasant stink, but it's got a stink to it. I cannot stand the smell of straight silicone, that vinegar, salicylic acid stink. I can't stand it. Of course, I get it all over my fingers again, because why not? It's glue, right? And there's probably a couple other different types of adhesive that I could use for this project, but this is kind of like my favorite. I'm fairly sure when I glue this together that this is never going to come apart without an unreasonable level of abuse. I'm fairly sure. Do this one this way. I was actually going to do this one with CA glue, but well, I got this crap out. This stuff absolutely is some tenacious shit. You can glue glass together with it. Literally 20 plus years ago, I glued glass beads to plastic buttons on a shirt. Now that shirt has been worn on and off, well, when I fit into it. That shirt's been worn on and off for over 20 plus years. And I wash it, I run it right through the washing machine because, I spilled beer on it or whatever. And those buttons are still on that shirt. It gets run through the wash. I don't put it in the dryer, but not because I don't want the buttons to fall off, but because it's a tacky rayon shirt. It's a tacky rayon bowling shirt. But, alright, so now, see? And away we go. The instructions on this stuff say to let it sit for 2 minutes before you coat both sides. It's standard adhesive stuff, right? So coat both sides, let it sit for a minute or two, and then stick it together like contact cement. And, that's that. This should, I think when I'm all done with this, I might take a piece of 180 grit sandpaper and just go like that around the inside. We're good to go. Alright, don't build what you can buy. I've just spent all day building these. Now, these can get set aside to dry for 24 to 48 hours. 72 is what it says on the container. Now, theoretically, it should not matter at this point at which direction, what polarity I put the magnets in. the magnets actually that I put in this is purely to act as a clamp for the metal, so it's held down. It's not going to change it. So I can just pop these in any which way, and it shouldn't matter. You know, that is why I needed to do that. So like I said, now I have 3 females because I have the factory one. So these can get pushed in any particular way, and it doesn't matter. Like I said, these are PLA printed at 25% infill. So, and not for nothing, cutting that wasn't that much of a pain in the ass. I think, well, when I do it again, which I'm fairly sure I'll have to, it won't be as big of a deal. Whenever you do something for the first time, you end up burning yourself. So another thing is, these don't need to... One of my issues was this one, right? And it actually, you can see it right there. These, the males, don't need to attach to one another. That's really a non-issue. So putting the magnets in an orientation is a non-issue. As a matter of fact, I wonder, just out of fucking curiosity, I wonder if these are all oriented the same way. I bet you they're not. Yeah, there might be. These are installed by a machine, I guarantee it. There's a machine somewhere where these are all stacked up and they get pressed in, so they're all going the same direction. I'm not a machine. Yeah, that one's backwards, that one's backwards. So pretty much I've gotten every other one backwards. And again, it's not an issue because we're sticking the magnets to metal and not magnets. So we learned that lesson really quick. Now, like I said, these are these are press fit in. Obviously, I'm using a pair of Nick and X Cobra grips. If you don't have a pair of these are not channel locks. These are Knipex Cobra grip pliers. They are, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the most fantastic channel locks I've ever owned in my life. And they're not channel locks, adjustable pliers I've ever owned in my life. And I've owned hundreds of pairs of pliers. I own every single model of these with one exception, which I'm gonna buy. So this is my favorite pair of pliers. As a matter of fact, if I was to have to grab a handful of tools and run out of the house and do a job, these are every single time, no matter what I do, this pair of pliers or this pair goes in my kit. It's actually usually this pair, so this one is just a little bit bigger, and then I got the bigger ones too. This is how much I love these pliers. There's a pair in between. There's another little pair, and then there's an even bigger pair. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I'm gonna buy the little ones. These are perfect. These are literally the most perfect ever. And then they make another pair that's about that big that I'm gonna buy. I just haven't gotten around to it. I actually have 2 pairs of these. Now, the other thing I'm gonna do with these is, probably put a drop of super thin CA glue on each one of these, but maybe not. I mean, they're pretty hard to press in. I wouldn't doubt that eventually they're going to come out, but as it stands right this second, these are okay. Now we have a factory one here. Bingo. That's exactly what I wanted. Now, that's the dealio. Now what I'm going to do, and I'll save you that show, is I'm going to press more magnets into here. And then I'm going to glue these two together, but I am going to use CA glue for this. And then we'll see how it holds. If it comes apart, then I will, I'll fix it. I'll put the E6000. I actually may just use E6000. I don't know yet. I have the E6000 sitting. I actually have both of them sitting right here. I may E6000 this thing together just to see how it works, to see how it holds. So apparently I either measured it wrong or, and now I've looked into it a little bit, PLA apparently shrinks when it cools. So that's probably what's going on here. But that fits. It's sloppy, but I'm not worried about slop. That's what hot glue is for. I'm just going to hot glue that fucker in there just like that. Right? Because the slop is nominal. Right? We're talking maybe, 5 thou slop. But they fit right in. I can put I can put some hot glue around here. I rather use hot glue on this one in case I need to take it apart. So I can hot glue that in there, and that's done. This one fits great. That one actually fits exactly the way it's supposed to. My assumption is that this one's tapered for draft in the injection mold. That's another thing. Everything that you buy, for the most part, that's in a mold has got what's called draft. And I didn't take into consideration draft. I just printed stuff straight. I could do that, but I don't really. That's just beyond what I feel like dealing with. Hot glue is my friend. So this fits. This clears. This doesn't move, and this clears just fine. So the hose will just stick right on the end here. And that's that for the time being. Now, what's the next adventure here? So the next adventure is going to be adapting this down and deciding how I'm going to run this flex hose. I've got plenty of this. Well, I think it's funny is they call this 10 feet. Well, this is 6 feet, but it'll stretch probably more if I tried it. I highly doubt this thing's going to, it'll stretch 10 feet, but when it's stretched to full 10 feet, it'll be unusable. But I like this one because it's a rigid, heavy PVC hose, or I think it doesn't matter what kind of hose it is. So the next step is to go from there, adapt the aluminum glass gate onto here. I don't think the aluminum glass gate fits. Oh yeah. But it's super sloppy. So this is super duper sloppy. So, and it's a little high. It's not high for me. I'm 6 foot. Well, my wife teases me. I'm 6'2". I swear, as God is my witness, I used to be 6'3" at one point in my life, but I apparently have shrunk. So I may put an adapter on there that I already have. I have some adapters. I did it with my other, with the planer. I had an adapter laying around here that fit this. If not, I can just print an adapter like this one. Actually, that might be the key right there. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't fit. I think I did that already. I have another joint-to-joint adapter that I can do, and bring this down a little bit, and then use the flexible hose over here, and then print a clamp to hold it in place. I know it's less than ideal, but I really don't feel like making a hard connection from here down to here. It's just, everything's prototyping for me. That's where we're at.